Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. I'm going to do a little bit of a different video on this. I was going to do a review on this Keurig RIVO 500 espresso machine. This one's been out for a while, and I bought this one pretty cheap off of Facebook Marketplace. Got it for 20 bucks. Thought it was going to be a great deal. Well, it turns out it doesn't work. So that's the problem with Facebook Marketplace. You really don't get to try stuff out too much. But I'll show you what's not working, and I'm going to try to come up with a fix. So you put your pod in. And so you press short. Yeah, you hardly get any liquid out whatsoever. That's hardly anything. I've got my milk in. I'm going to press froth. Okay, so I had to unplug it to reset it. It wouldn't do anything after I did the espresso shot. So I got my milk in, I'm gonna try to do some froth. And the frother doesn't even turn. You get a little bit of bubbles out. This thing doesn't turn. I'm not sure what's going on, why that won't turn, but I'm gonna tear this thing apart. And I'm gonna let you know if there's any parts that are replaceable, or if there's even any way I can fix this. Okay, so I've never taken one of these apart, but I turned it upside down. Got it unplugged, of course. I'm going to take these 5 screws out. So I'll probably just take out a bunch of screws until it starts coming apart and we can look inside. Okay, so they're all the same size except for this one. So you got the label, the cord up on this left-hand side right here. That's a longer one. There is a screw over here on the water reservoir side I'm going to take out. So it's got these tangs that you got to depress. And the easiest way to do that is to put your screwdriver right here and then turn it. As you turn it, it's going to move that tang so that you can lift it up and get it up. Okay, so here's what it looks like with the lid off. This is the side where the milk frothing is. So I got some more screws, some more plastic I'm going to take off. You know, I don't care if I ruin it, but I'm going to see what's inside and if there's anything that's replaceable. Okay, so there's 2 Phillips screws hidden down in these really far holes. Okay, so after fighting this, I've got the screws out. They really don't want you to get inside these. I've been having to kind of break the plastic a little bit. Maybe it'll be more obvious when I get more of it apart, but it's just not wanting to come apart. And I have been prying and everything other than trying to just really, truly try to physically break it. You know, I did this screw, I've tried this, I've tried peeling this away. So I'm going to keep plugging away at it, but they do not want you to take it apart. So, okay, so I had to resort to pretty much destruction. I just don't see why this bottom tray doesn't want to separate. Looks like you can get in there, and there is stuff to replace, but I can't figure out how I was supposed to get in there. I mean, I've pretty much destroyed it now. But I'm starting to find the point of separation. So here you've got to get this apart somehow. I just pried mine, and then it slits right here. So what you're going to, somehow this bottom tray is attached to this opening here. And you got to break it. You got to open it here. Okay, found some hidden screws. This silver piece on top needs to come off. And it's on there really good. You got to get some really small screwdrivers and pry this off. Wow, look, there's all the screws. Son of a gun. Well, maybe I should have looked at a YouTube video. But maybe this will help somebody else. Okay, so I took those screws out. This top cover looks like it's going to want to come off. Yeah, comes right off. Oh, wow. Got a lot. This thing has a lot going on inside it. Wow. Looks like the heater. Ooh, it's hot. Some water valves. I think I did see the water pump on the bottom. Still not wanting to come apart. I took these 2 screws out. I'm going to take those out. Okay, so with those 4 screws out, this thing lifts from the top, and I can get it all the way out. It's got this it's like some kind of connection. So you would take that little ring off. So that little ring just pulls out, and the water line can come out. Okay, there's another little bitty water line on the bottom. Same thing. Pull that ring, and then it comes out. So that's designed pretty good. This thing's a lot of metal. That's what that looks like. That assembly that pierces your cup. All right, first piece down. We could have got out by just taking those screws around the top. So prying that little silver trim off. So it's probably going to damage it when you pry it, but you got to get it pried off. So still not one to come apart. This was right here, but it's got a screw on the side down there, which I'm not quite sure how you'd get these 2 screws out. I guess you could come in at an angle at the side. But once that's out, I'm going to take these screws out for this motor. Okay, once those screws are out, looks like that motor, you can take that motor assembly out. So that motor wasn't turning. I don't know if it was the logic that was keeping it from turning. You could replace that motor. I'm not sure it'd be worth it though. So even with all of that stuff up top, I still can't. So if this tray was still intact, you know, I broke off this piece and this piece, but if this was still intact, I still couldn't slide this whole tray back out of this enclosure. And I don't know what's keeping it. Okay, it looks like there's, you know, they had to hide 2 screws underneath these covers. There's 2 screws here. Okay, so this is a pretty secret. These screws, getting those little covers off is a pain. It's got a little hole, but they're on there really, really tight. So I'm not sure what the trick is, but I'm prying mine off. But this is key. So that's pretty much where the espresso comes out. There's 2 screws hidden underneath these little covers. Yeah, so getting those little covers off was pretty tricky. Once you do, there are screws underneath there. And I think that's going to open this up even more. Okay, so I finally got the 2 pieces apart. That was a chore. It can be done. I don't recommend it unless you absolutely love your machine and want it fixed. But it was a chore getting the control head portion out of. So that's like the outer shell. And like I said, this would have this tray. I broke my tray a little bit, but this whole tray would come out as an assembly. So now here's the control panel. So there's the top. Over here behind the milk frother, this is where a lot of stuff's at. So this is definitely the heater, and it got hot. So be really careful of that. Looks like you just got some timing valves that shoot the steam different places. I think my main problem was my water pump. So these Keurigs are all about water pressure. And the main water pump is here. And, you know, they got some connectors on it. So, yep, there's another connector. There's this flap. So it's got 2 connectors. Little one. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe like a temperature thing. Those just pull off. Okay, so there's the water pump. I took the 2 connections off. This hose looks like it just pulls off. And then over here we do have a little more of a connection. We gotta take that little pin out, or that little clip off. And it looks like this one just pulls off. Or we could just take those 2 screws out. I'm not sure. No, we can't get to those screws. Okay, so getting all the water lines off, I still think I'm going to take these 2 screws out, but I can turn the pump now at least. But getting this is a pretty hard fixture here. but I can turn the motor in order to access both screws. I'm going to try to do that. Okay, so even on this side, once I got that water line off, I still got to pry this off. This is still just like rubber, but I'm going to pry it off, and then I can get this plastic hose, or this rubber piece that's holding it. Okay, so taking those two screws out didn't gain me much, because this is pretty much, the motor just came apart. So this is kind of like the magnetic part that turns it, and the actual motor must be here. Okay, so this has got some little wrenching flats on it. So you would put your wrench on there and then turn this metal part. It's threaded in. This is pretty hard plastic here. So turn the metal part. I've got it broke loose already. There it comes off. Then you would be able to slide it out. I just cut the plastic so I could kind of get a close-up. But so there's the pump. It is a really little water pump. So here's what the model number it says on there. And you can take this pump all apart. I'm not quite sure how it even works. I'm sure this turns, but this all comes apart. The doesn't look obvious, and I can't imagine the electrical part of the motor went bad. So that's about where I'm going to stop. Hopefully this will help somebody. I'm not sure, but that's pretty much how you take this apart. And if you could, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.